Welcome here to TalkFCB and welcome back to the channel here today, guys, as we are going to have a full Barça news roundup and also plenty of discussion as well. We're going to be covering the topics of injuries. That is one that we always seem to have to talk about, and we are going to do once again today, but also it's about the right back situation. We're going to be talking in a lot of detail about that position and the problems that we are seeing right now inside of the club. We're also going to be talking too about Barca's transfer plans ahead of 2023 and some of the rumours that we are hearing in the media right now. There is lots to get through and lots to cover, and I hope you're going to enjoy it. So come on, and let's do this, because today's Barça News Roundup is brought to you courtesy of the OneFootball app, which is your place to stay updated with all of the latest Barça news. And one thing as well, guys, is you can vote for your player of the match. After the game is over there, you can go over and cast your votes. And I was surprised yesterday to see Rafinha with so few votes after the game against Pilsen. So make sure there you guys are having your say. And of course, if you are in the UK and you want to catch up with the La Liga highlights, you can do that right there in the app as well. So for all of that good stuff, you can download it using the link in the description, and I thank all of you guys and indeed OneFootball for the tremendous support here on the channel. And if we do indeed begin with that injury update now, and I want to start by talking about Pablo Torre, who seemed to get injured there in the very moment that he scored his first Barcelona goal. It was very, very unfortunate indeed for the young man. He had to be subbed off immediately after that moment, but luckily though, the good news on this is he's absolutely fine. There is no lasting damage. It's not a serious problem. Xavi confirmed after the game that Pablo Torre had just suffered a bit of cramp in that moment. He's all okay, which is good news. However, when you're talking about the injury to Frenkie, that is not the same story at all, because he was also subbed off in the second half through injury, but it was one of those that you saw instantly. It wasn't good. You know, he was running, he pulled up in a lot of pain, clearly there a hamstring problem, and it looks like it's a serious one there. With it now being said, it's not a strain to the hamstring, but a tear, and that looks likely now to keep Kessie out for around 6 weeks of action, a long time there away from the field. Now, obviously, there's only 2 league games left for Barca before the winter breaks. He's going to miss both of those two, and he will be back in time, luckily, for the new year. But it is just another blow here for Kessie, who's had a tough time. We've spoken about it a lot recently since joining Barca, and he'll be hoping that he can have some luck and some opportunities to show his quality in 2023. But speaking indeed about 2023, coming on now to talk about Barca's right-back problem. That's something we're going to talk about in detail, because let's start with Hector Bellerin, who has not only suffered also a bit of an injury hit start to his Barca return, which was far from ideal, but actually, since he's returned from those injury problems, it's been a bit of a nightmare for him, because against Bayern, guys, he was awful. You know, let's be honest here. It was a shambolic performance from Bellerin. If you look at the first goal, Mane, he just skips away from him. He absolutely shreds him for pace, and it was a really, really tough night for Bellerin. But okay, you're thinking, well, it's Bayern Munich. You know, there's going to be easier games, there's going to be easier opponents. You would hope that he can hold his own when it comes to those games. But then you look at last night against Victoria Pilsen, and they did exactly the same to him. It was another poor performance, time and time again. They were targeting our right side because they were beating him for ease. He was out of position. He was getting caught in behind. And I just look at Bellerin right now at Barca. The pace isn't there anymore. You think about him a few seasons ago, he had that burst of acceleration that could get him out of trouble, that could, you know, compensate for some of the defensive mistakes and help him recover those positions. But it's just not there anymore, and this start to life at Barca, it has not gone well, because there's already talk in the Catalan media that the club have decided already not to extend his contract further, that at the end of the season, Bellerin will indeed leave the club. And while there is still time, you know, to turn things around, it is still relatively early days since he signed in the summer, but you feel like he needs a big turnaround. You already feel as though he's losing and quickly quickly losing the trust of Xavi. And I think you already saw that at the weekend there against Valencia, big game that it was away at Mestalla. Xavi didn't have any faith in him. Xavi, they opted to start Alejandro Balde at right back instead. That decision paid off as well. Balde continues to show his quality and his versatility. And I think also when you look at yesterday, Balde came on in the second half for Jordi Alba. And I think that's a clear sign there that on Saturday, back in La Liga, we're going to do the same thing again. I think it's very likely to be Alba at left back, Balde continuing at right back, because the trust simply isn't there in Bellerin. And there's still no Roberto. And I think we have heard plenty of rumours in the media there about the right-back situation ahead of the January transfer window. Of course, one of the options is that we go out in that January window and buy a right-back. But the question that I would have there ahead of that transfer window is, do we have, first of all, the budget for that? Do we have the funds to go out and spend on a right-back and have the wage allowance to fit them in this current season? Or would it just be another short-term option? Because if that is the case, guys, if we're just going out in January, not really getting our number one target, but just getting in a stopgap, that's not the right way to go. We have to stop here with these short-term options. Of course, when we were really limited in what we could do, then it was okay to sort of just get by. But I think now, let's put an end to that. If the right player is not available in January, you don't go out and sign somebody else then. And I think there's even been suggestions right now, looking at January, if you couldn't bring in somebody else, there's the option of Dest. A lot of people have said, could we bring him back? And I look so far at his time at AC Milan, he started 2 games. That is all he started at Milan. 2 solitary games. And it looks already pretty likely they're not going to sign him permanently. So is there a possibility that Barca would actually say, well, we're going to have him back anyway. He's going to come back likely at the end of the season anyway. Could we get him back early if the two sides were to agree on that? So Dest is a possibility, perhaps, if we want reinforcement in January. Because I just think when it comes to right back, not since Dani Alves, the first time around, have we ever replaced him. This is a position that season upon season upon season, we've been trying to find solutions. We've brought in a lot of players, but none of them have worked out. And the time has come now to think about this properly, to spend the right money on the right player, to properly sort out this problem. And please, no more stopgaps. And I do think it's interesting, guys, looking indeed again at 2023, because along with a right-back signing, it is widely being reported that already Barca have decided they're going to sign to a defensive midfielder and a forward in 2023, whether that be there in the January transfer window or indeed looking ahead to the summer. And I do want to address one particular rumour that's been quite widely publicised over the past few days. Jorginho. Plenty of people saying that Barca are lining up a move for Jorginho. There was even reports in the media this morning that Mattia Almani had actually met with Jorginho's agent to agree terms. But I just want to update you on that, because Jorginho's agent today, he's shut down those rumours. He has clearly stated he's never met with Mattia Almani, and Jorginho's priority is renewing at Chelsea. So that is one right now that you don't want to look too far into. But I am just very interested to know right now what your thoughts are on that defensive midfield position. We've heard the number of players linked to Barca there. We've also heard Zubimendi from Real Sociedad. Xavi apparently is a big fan of his. Ruben Neves as well. His contract continues to tick down and run down at Wolves. He's an option, and they got that George Mendes link with him too. And speaking there of Mendes, there's also Nico. We still have him, registered as a Barcelona player. The loan at Valencia this season, it's not exactly sparked into life. We still haven't seen Nico as regularly as I think he would have wanted, having made that move. But what do you think will happen? Because I just wonder here, are we going to ever put any trust in Frenkie? Are we actually ever going to say, okay, he's our man? Because I still think we're very reluctant to do that. So is that going to happen? I think we would need to see him in the role, game in, game out. We would need to see him in a run of games there over a consistent period to actually say, okay, he either can be in that role, he can be the man, or he can't. We haven't seen him have that consistent time in that position yet. Or is the plan to go out elsewhere? Is the plan here once again to say, well, Frenkie, he's not what we're looking for? Are the rumours going to surface again about his future? Are we again going to try to move him on as we did in the summer? There are a few rumours already that may happen. And if we do that, if we are trying to go down that route again, What is going to be the plan at defensive midfield? Who does Xavi count on in that position? Because we are looking for a Busquets successor, given that it's likely he will move on at the end of the season. So that's something I'm really, really interested in, along with the right-back situation. What do you envisage happening there? In defensive midfield, can Frenkie be that man? Can we put the trust in him to take over from Busquets permanently? Or is there somebody else that we can look to, that we can count on in that position? Please do let me know, guys, all of your thoughts from today's video. Very, very interested to know what your feelings are at this stage, as of course now we're looking to those last two games before the break to really make them count, really put in some good performances. I will see you soon, guys, as we discuss all of that to come. But thank you indeed for watching once again here today and for getting involved. I will see you soon. But until next time, as always, Visca, El Barça.